What's up, Internet? My name is Attack Slug, and welcome to Rental Reasons, the show where I talk about whatever game I'm currently renting from GameFly and kind of pontificate on why I'm not buying it, but usually the reason is because I'm broke. In any case, today, we're looking at Godzilla, a game that is super polarizing right now. It's out on the PS4 and the PS3, but the physical copy is only available on the PS4. It was originally a PS3 game last year in Japan, and they said, we'll do a little bit of work and put it on the PS4 this year. So it was timed for the release of the movie last year. Anyway, this is Godzilla. People seem to either love this game or hate this game, and it currently has a Metacritic of about 37. So certainly reviewers, not fans of the game. So I'm going to kind of jump in here and give you a brief overview of some of the modes here. So the main mode is this God of Destruction mode, where you're going to go through a bunch of stages, much like, say, Star Fox, where it's designed to be replayed. There are branching paths, and you play as Godzilla. Actually, I just unlocked this. I'm not sure if it's any better or worse, so I'm going to go with the normal just to kind of go, with the base experience. So basically, you start out here as Godzilla. You start out at 50 meters, and you run through about, 8 or 9 stages. But the difficulty depends on which path you take, etc., etc. Yes, the visuals look like an up-resed PS3 game, and yes, that PS3 game was not particularly a high-budget game to begin with. But that's, could be more forgiven if the gameplay was not kind of shallow. But here's the thing. I think as a Godzilla experience, it's mostly accurate. It's not as fun as previous Godzilla games, but it is nowhere near as terrible as people are making it out to be. Reviewers and game journalists, etc., are just shitting all over this game kind of unjustly. And I feel like part of that is because games from Japan don't always get a fair shake, because they're always perhaps a little bit esoteric, a little bit janky, and games like Earth Defense Force, don't review very well. I think games like Earth Defense Force are fucking phenomenal, but I understand that is down to personal taste. And a lot of the personal taste for, American game journalists is more hand-holdy, type stuff. So, Godzilla here. You are a lumbering beast. That is very much the point of this game, is you are lumbering. You have a basic set of moves, including your tail whip. You've got kind of a 3-hit punch combo. You've got your fire breath, or your laser breath. And more importantly, you don't have a block button. However, you do have an interrupt, which is your roar. You hit L2, R2. You do this roar here, and that will pretty much stop anything that is currently hitting you, although obviously the tanks and boats here aren't going to do a whole lot of damage to Godzilla. Now, there are a bunch of different systems in this game to kind of explain as I'm moving along here and breaking shit. The temperature gauge there that is next to the map, or the radar, that is what governs either use of your breath or your roar. So when I do the roar here, I'll use up a thing there, and that will perpetually refill over and over again. Your height is gained by, smashing shit. And when you smash it, you'll notice these little orange squares kind of go into you, and that will increase your height. So obviously you want to go for as much destruction as possible. But the drawback of going for as much destruction as possible is that your disaster level, which is there in the middle of the screen, that will raise. And the more it raises and increases levels, the more shit they send after you to go fuck you up. You also have there, when you see I hit stuff above the radar, is my fury level. Now, that basically is your combo meter. And you want to ideally have you want to have a path in the stage that is going to get to a point where you're never going to drop your combo. And that's difficult. That's where a lot of the challenge in this game comes in, because, see, I just lost a combo there, and the longer you keep your combo going, the higher you get your fury, you can see there, times 1.1. So you're going to increase the amount of energy you get, which increases your height. and that is at the end of your run here of the 8 stages or so. That is your high score. And I think I got to 107 was my highest one. You can get higher than that. You can get to like 140. And there are online leaderboards as such. There is online multiplayer, which I'm really not going to go into in this video, but it exists. And people who are playing it are really into it, and like, I'll get online and guys have like 50 or 60 wins. I'm like, that's not really my thing. But in general, online multiplayer not really my thing. Anyway, the buildings all kind of, I mean, this is not, don't expect too much on the technical end, but the game's not broken. Like, the game works, as long as you understand how all the systems work. There's no real issue with, how that's gonna go. They've built a functional product. Now, where I think a lot of the complaints come in is that this game is $60. And that is this game's biggest problem, is that it's $60. And I understand, from the developer standpoint, having to do official licensing, you've got to pay your licensees that money. So, had this not been a Godzilla game, perhaps it would have been, around 40. And that would have been a more palatable price for what they are asking here. But at a full price 60, it's not what you want. It's like, I could not recommend buying this game at $60. If you were the biggest Godzilla fan in the world, I am admittedly not. Like, I've kind of seen bits and pieces of a lot of them, and I have a base knowledge of a lot of the kaiju, but I don't have the in-depth, I haven't seen every movie, etc., etc. But I like Godzilla, and as someone who likes Godzilla, and I like those games back on the GameCube, this game's not terrible. I have had fun with what I've played of it, and there is challenge to be found here if you're looking for a game that has a little bit of challenge. So I'm going to skip this talking thing here, and we'll get our results, which is our time. I haven't had any stages that go beyond like 10 minutes, so they're all kind of pretty short stages if you're playing them right. And you can see there the growth, and okay, so I didn't cover the data collection points. The data collection points, which I'll get into in a minute here, but you can see here I've collected, you can see how this, at the bottom there, how these stages branch out, and I want to say that I'm missing data on like stage 16. We're just going to keep going easy here until we get to 8, and then hopefully go from 8, 12 to 16. Perhaps not in this video, but that's kind of where I'm going to go here. But we're going to go fight Hedorah. As you fight the other kaiju, you unlock the other kaiju once you finish the mode. So there's your difficulty change is whoever is running the country. And that will change how fast the disaster level rises, and therefore change how fast the difficulty goes up. But as I am talking over this game, going through hard stages is not particularly a good idea. Also, it might determine the size of the other kaiju that you fight. And occasionally, you go to that first hard stage, and you're like, 55, and they'll spawn like a 100-meter kaiju, and you're like, that's not gonna happen. Like, it's possible, it's feasible, but it's not easy. Anyway, so I've already collected all the data here, but the data points here, I'm gonna hit R3, and it's gonna go to this camera mode here, and I'm gonna sit here and wait for it to collect data. But pretty much you're gonna go through it and do that once, right? Options. There we go. You're gonna go through it and do that once while it collects the data and fills that meter. And then once you get all 4, you ideally want all 4 in every stage. Now, this both helps and hinders you. It helps you if you actually want to complete the game and unlock all the kaiju and get, like the actual ending of the game. But it hinders you in that you're essentially helping You're essentially helping the humans develop new weapons to battle Godzilla. So it's kind of a weird system that you're helping people who are trying to, send bigger shit at you to fight you. So that's kind of a weird, like, in terms of gameplay, you kind of don't want to do it, but in terms of, hey, I want to finish this game and get the true ending, then you kind of do want to do it. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. I haven't gotten to that point where I've gotten, I've gotten the ending, because obviously when you first finish it, you're not going to get the actual ending. When you get over 50% collected, then you get an ending. But the other main complaint, besides the price, is that this is kind of the gameplay loop. And whether or not you think this is awesome or not is going to determine how much you actually like this game. And yeah, I think the combo system is kind of limited. I think you've got a very limited moveset. I think the stages are a little small, but that doesn't mean I'm not having fun with the game. And I think a lot of reviewers just kind of wrote it off as well, this game is complete shit. And having a game like it's kind of a double-edged sword, because when you have a game that that actually uses the 10-point scale, and most websites don't. Most websites use that 7 to 10 scale, where if it's a 6, it fucking sucks, which is dumb. Like, I understand you want to use that full 10-point scale, but the way that most gamers have been conditioned to deal with the 10-point scale is that if a game is at like a 3 or a 4, that game is broken. This game is not broken. This game works exactly as intended, and if you're playing it right, which, spend a little time, and you will, then you're not going to have a problem. You can see here, I got my Fury at 19. I'm kind of just making sure to go through one building after another. You can kind of use your roar here to refill that, but occasionally it'll just start going down like real fast. And see it there, it's just gone. So that is a drop combo. That fucking sucks. So here is Hedorah, who is the trash monster of the series, like literally. But I'm at 57 and he's 50, so that shouldn't be a problem. He is the triangle arrow thing on the map there. And what I've found is that if you want to destroy these G energy things, you get in between the AI, and AI kind of can't handle it, and they kind of just end up hitting this, which is kind of your goal is to destroy these in every stage, and then you eat that sweet G energy, and that is how you win. Now, as it gets harder, they're going to add things like a timer to be able to have to go and destroy those in X amount of time while they're spawning all kinds of kaiju and mechs and shit like that. So here's Hedorah. We're gonna breath blast him here, and then take the fight to his doorstep. So I should mention the controls. You move around with the left stick, right? There's your interrupt. That will interrupt any attack that is being done to you. So you move around with the left stick. However, you turn Godzilla with the L1, R1 bumpers. And I understand that that's weird, but it kind of gives you that sense that he is a big, lumbering creature. It really feeds into what one would imagine a Godzilla game should be. And I like that. Like, I don't have a problem with that. Boom. And then charge him. Yeah, so you've got your run charge move, you've got your basic 3-hit combo, you've got your tail whip, you've got your breath, and there are more moves. Like if I hit back and triangle, I kind of do a back tail stomp. The problem is those moves are unlockable, and that kind of is my biggest issue with this game, is that the unlockable stuff, there's a lot of it. And the base amount of gameplay, in terms of stages, there's not a lot. So what that means is if you want to unlock all the moves for all the kaiju, you're going to be grinding for like 100 hours. And this game, I had fun. This game is not worth playing for 100 hours. I will tell you that you have to fucking be in love with Godzilla to play this game for 100 hours. It's just not. That's crazy. So that's really only my main issue there is kind of that. Is I played maybe 8-9 hours now, and I played through the main mode a couple times, and I had fun with it. Like I enjoyed what I played, but the only thing I haven't really done is get I'm missing 3 characters, and I know that one of them is by doing, you know, like the true ending, which I haven't gotten yet. I have not gotten 100% of all the data. So whether or not I actually want to play through it that much to get to that point is, you know, kind of the thing. It's like I kind of got what I wanted out of it, and I'll be happy to send it back to GameFly. It's not a game that I would say, you know, you should buy at 60. But if you are huge into Godzilla, you know, there really hasn't been a good game, or any games, since, you know, like, the GameCube. So, certainly at a certain point, you take what you can get, but at the same time, this game is not terrible, and I don't understand. I mean, I kind of understand, but I don't understand people who review games for a living and don't either they don't have somebody on staff who can appreciate games that are not AAA budget games. Like, I would not give this game, you know, a 3 out of 10, because I know that the scale, you know, usually goes from 7 to 10, not 1 to 10, because that's kind of how it's been for a long time. Now, you want to change the whole industry, then change the whole industry. But I just don't see that happening, unfortunately. So we're gonna finish this stage. I'm gonna kind of look at some other modes here, real quick before I end this video. But you kind of understand what the basic gameplay loop is at this point. You want to fight. If you destroy the 3 generators before your enemy kaiju spawns, he won't spawn. You know, like, you'll finish the stage. But that's not the case when it gets harder, because when it gets harder, you want to destroy them all as fast as possible, and then fight whoever you're fighting. And there certainly are a bunch of, like, I will show you the roster here as soon as this stage finishes. There are a decent amount of kaiju in this game, and they're all pretty accurate, which is great as a fan, you know, as someone who likes giant monster movies. So we're going to skip this little outro here. It was 8 minutes, 100% destruction. So yeah, it feels like the people who did the reviews kind of didn't understand how the gameplay loop worked, or didn't want to understand. Alright, so King of Kaiju mode is literally a wave-based deal. You're going to fight 6 in a row, but I will show you the list I have here of guys that you can beat. So we got Godzilla, Mothra, got two Mothras, Rodan, King Ghidorah, Hedorah, Jet Jaguar, Mechagodzilla, 1 and 2, Biollante, Mecha King Ghidorah, there's Batra, and then there's the adult Batra. I don't have that yet. Superman Godzilla, Space Godzilla! I'm missing 2 here. I want to say one of these is Destroya, and I don't know who the other one is. And then we got the Kiryu, the Gigan, Godzilla 2014, which is the one from the new movie, and the original, which doesn't like the in-game model doesn't really look like the one that you want it to look like. It doesn't look like that picture. Anyway, I should also mention that in the God of Destruction mode, there also is what is called Defend. So Defend means you can choose any of these quote-unquote good guys to fight against monsters in that same branching path. And your thing is you want to defeat them before they cause plenty of destruction in that city. So it's just one-on-one fights with make sure you don't wreck shit. Which is alright, like, and then obviously you can, invade as other kaiju here, in the same, branching path system, etc., etc. So kind of, the God of Destruction stuff is all kind of, the same deal here. You can go into, get your rankings here in terms of your, leaderboards, and you can see there, 135 is the top guy. I got 107, so I'm in the top 3,000. Anyway, there's also a versus mode, which is the online mode. Evolution mode, which I can't do right now in terms of having them transfer. This is where your unlocks are, right? So you can see here I'm a level 8 Godzilla. Now, to get the next level of Charge Breath, I need Mothra adult cells, which means I gotta fight Mothra and defeat Mothra to get those cells, and that kind of appears in that branching path, or in the King of Kaiju mode. And then your basic evolution cells, I have like over 4,000. But you can see here, Godzilla cells, Destroyer cells. That's like, it adds up what you need here, and each kaiju has their own evolution path, which unlocks more moves, etc., etc., which is insane, considering how much you would need to do, you know, over the course of this game to make that happen. So that's where it kind of falls apart for me. I don't want to do 100 hours of grinding to make that happen. Also, for a lot of these, it says, oh, you can unlock figures. Those are for a different mode, which is the diorama mode, which is literally you're going in here and you're setting up little scenes in a diorama and then taking pictures. I don't know why this is in here. Like, sure, it's neat, but I feel like that time could have been spent, you know, making the main game better. But it's in here. If you want to fuck with it, it is in here. And there are a bunch of unlockables, you know, related to that. But personally, I'm not going to spend any time messing around. Like, I did one... No, not continue, goddammit. I did one to, you know, get the trophy. And I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I don't need to mess with this anymore. I don't think there are any other trophies involved. There might be. No. Back into that. Also, for you who love, you know, all this stuff, if you're not familiar, or if you want to see a bunch of information, you have, when you collect that data in those stages, you get your kaiju guide here. So you can actually go and say, hey, you know, who is Gabara? And then you can get, you know, a picture, and you get a little story. And what's cool is some of this stuff is the actual, like, movie story, and some of this stuff actually goes into how they made the suits and did the effects, and that stuff to me is super interesting. And obviously you see here I'm missing some data, so I'm missing, and not all the guys here in the data are in the game, so you'll get, you know, this guy here, he's not in the game, I don't think. Megalon's not in the game. Certainly, I want to say there was I forget who it was. Anyway, and that's kind of, you know, this game. It's not bad, and I think that's kind of the overwhelming narrative right now on the internet. This game is bad. It's not a bad game. It depends on what your tolerance is for lower budget Japanese games, and mine is pretty freaking high because I love a lot of those. There's a certain heart to it that those games will have, as opposed to the big budget AAA Western, whatever. So, that being said, this game is totally a rental. If you want to buy it, I'd say wait until it's like, you know, $30, $20. Like, don't buy it at $60. I understand why, the logistics of why Bandai Namco had to price it at $60. But as someone who loves video games, like, I enjoyed what I played, I had fun, but if I had bought it for $60, I might be a little mad. Now, granted, if you want to unlock everything, you're going to get 100 hours out of it, and then, yeah, sure, maybe that's a good price for you, but I don't think it was worth that. I think it is a great rental. If you have GameFly, definitely give it a shot. Don't just go, oh, it's got shit reviews. Like, give it a shot. It might surprise you. But, again, if you didn't like what we saw in this video, then perhaps the game's not for you. But if you like Godzilla, and I do, I thought this was a pretty reasonably decent game. Like, I would give it around, you know, like a 7, 7.5. It's not bad. It's not bad. Anyway, this is Godzilla for the PS4. I want to say it's out digitally on PS3 only, but physically and digitally on PS4. And it is out now, and I am your host, Attack Slug. This has been Rental Reasons. Thanks for watching, thanks for joining me, and I will see you next time right here on this channel. And I'm out.